the game, she caught my stare. Spreads the guitar, but I didn't look away. My heart beats faster as she comes my way. But she just keeps on with those beautiful eyes. Again, so deep in my soul, got me so hypnotized. Hey baby, why don't you come my way? Got a little place around the corner where we can stay. Said I'm out, but I don't even know your name. So what's the matter, honey? Just don't mean the same. She just keeps on with those beautiful eyes. Welcome back, viewers. It's James Kalm, your half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike, and we are back for another session of art recon. We're going to try to run into the Nathalie Karg Gallery and see an exhibition. Hello. So, we are here to catch the last day of a Nathlie Provosty exhibition. I have been trying to make my way here for the last month, but between the influx of the various variants and some intense work things, I haven't made it until today. Well, we'll start here. It's actually a body of work I'm not familiar with, which is Nathalie's photography. It's titled Coronet. 2021, 39 by 33 inches. This is an archival pigment print. And Nathalie also, I guess, published this book. Is this her poetry?
It's the text is by her.
Text?
A lot of it's from emails, and a lot of it's expanded creative writing. It's all put together by her.
And this is what she performed reading from this the other
Exactly, kind of
day? Hello. Okay, how much is the
book is
cap?
$50.
50. Okay, thank you.
But it's also available on our website if you want to think about it.
Okay. Well, good. This is titled Nocturne 2022, oil on linen, 36 by 23. I've known Nathalie for, I don't know, probably 15 years now, something like that. She was one of the young artists that I've met through my associations with the Brooklyn Rail. Okay, so she's a pretty interesting painter. I'm looking at this and I'm sort of shifting back and forth, and okay, so you see this from a distance and it's pretty monochrome. Let's look at a larger piece. Maybe we can see it better. This is Mistress 2020. Oil on linen, 114 by 96. So the top panel is 60 by 96 and the bottom panel is 53. Well, as I'm saying, I think Nathalie's a pretty interesting painter. One of the things that I've always appreciated about her work is that she's got a very finely tuned sense of surfaces and the way a different kind of surface makes your colors read differently. Okay, there's a good example. So you see this kind of violet hue into that black, sort of shading into a green, and then that's played off against some shinier blacks. Also, I'm noting that it looks like she's got a little bevel on the vertical edges on this. That's interesting. Yeah, so Nathalie is quite a paint head, a pigment specialist. And one of the other things that she does that's kind of interesting is these little treatments, little things on the edge. So, in certain ways, if you stand back from these pieces look like they're notched, but they're not notched. Okay, so this is nice because we get a chance to see a drawing. It's titled 21-33 2021. Ink and pencil on paper. Well, so I was talking about how subtle and almost monochrome the paintings look, but actually there's a lot of very dynamic formalist composition things happening. It's got a very nice worked on feel. It's a lot of strokes. It's titled Threadsons, oil linen 36 by 23. I made an offhanded comment to Nathalie a couple of years ago after seeing one of her recent shows, and I said, it seems to me that you're getting ready to jump into some color things, because at the time I think most of the paintings were dark or dark gray, nearly black. And I said, I think you're gonna probably break into some color stuff. She said, why would you say that? I said, because I think you've kind of done most of the stuff you can do with black, and you got a whole spectrum of other things to play with. And it looks like she has gone into the color a little more, or other colors a little more intently. It's titled 21-10 2021, ink collage and chalk on paper. I think this was the first kind of work that I saw that she was doing, was watercolors, works on paper. (22-01 2020), ink wash and enamel and collage on paper. Well, I like Nathalie's draftsmanship, her kind of obsessive stippling here, and I know that when you're working on a large oil painting and trying to get that kind of immaculate surface, or very clean and unaffectated surfaces, that you have to be kind of obsessive about your brush work and your other things. This, though, you really get a chance to see her hands in there grinding and stippling. working. Ellipsis 2022 oil and lint 36 by 23. Okay, so I would say that this is also kind of approaching her more colorful things. I guess I would make an analogous statement of her paintings relating to, at least the dark ones, to Ad Reinhardt. And we saw a Reinhardt installation that was designed by James Turrell, I think, over at Pace about a month ago or two. And that was called something about coming out of color, or color coming out of darkness, something like that. And so that relates to what I was saying about Nathalie kind of almost predeterminately being going into the color things more deeply. This is 22-02, 2022, ink and gouache on paper. It's 23 by 18. And I wonder if that's mulberry paper she's using, something. And nice and soft. So this also makes me think of some of the Chinese sumi ink painters. The way the ink washes add this kind of sense of space to that. Okay, now I've got another large painting. See if we can squeeze this in the frame. Nova, 2022, oil on linen. This is 114 by 96. Top panel is 62 by 96, and the bottom panel is 51 by 96. And if you look at that, especially the gap between the panels, it looks like it's notched. But these are Nathalie's little, like, bumper strips. And in a certain way, they, even though there's a very small part of the canvas that is covered with this blue stripe, that actually kind of sets off a lot of this yellow. I was kind of thinking some of the other artists that this work makes me think of. And I think one of the people that might have influenced Nathalie is Susan Freecon. Some of her work with the beautiful surfaces and the brushed down subtle color things. You know, a lot of hand ground paint. Also, some of this makes me think of Al Held. Some of his alphabet paintings from the early 60s before he went into his geometric mechanical abstraction. Okay, so that's interesting. Look at a drawing. (20-16, 2020) ink, gouache, and collage on paper. This is a lot more gestural, kind of slashy and splashy. And we'll finish off our little stroll through looking at the most colorful piece in the show. It's titled Ray Gun, well, on 36 by 23. Well, I was thinking about Nicole Eisenman and some of her large paintings, and thinking about the way that she kind of changes the paint handling depending on the size of the painting. And I think that Nathalie might approach the surfaces on some of the smaller pieces a little differently, maybe. Just keeps on with those beautiful eyes. James Kalm reporting on Nathlie Provosty, A Partial List of Failings, Nathalie Karg. Hey baby, why don't you come my way? Got a little bit around the corner where we can't stay. And take a gander at an exhibition of the works of Wurtz titled Monuments. We'll come in and do our stroll through. Start out looking at this. This is untitled, inkjet on acetate. So I'll read a little bit from the press release. Wurtz is perhaps best known for his repurposing of everyday flotsam into joyous, humorous, and beautiful sculptural objects, and in this case, I guess, graphic objects. This show spans the last 4 decades and amounts to a transubstantiation of the commonplace, exposing the enigmatic relationships between grandiosity of scale and pomp, humor, in seriousness. Okay, well, let's see what size these are. These are 60 by 43 inkjet prints. Okay, if you recognize these are the little stickers that they put on fruit and bananas. Oh, I like the grommets. Gosh, I don't know who came up with the idea for these things, but I think this is one of the worst things that has ever happened to food. I find myself biting into these little labels all the time, or spending a lot of time trying to peel them off. We got our Chiquita banana things. Well, this will be fun. We've got a little wall of his sculptures. I think these are the pieces they're talking about going back many years. One of the things I appreciate about B. Wurtz is his use of very simple, almost like garage woodworking. This piece is titled Green Bowl. This is 1987. And he's mixed that with some painting. I'm not going to get the titles on all of these, but this gives you an example of the kinds of materials he works with. So we've got something that's like some wood from maybe part of a broom handle or something. We got some buttons, string, ribbon, a little wire, maybe something from a clothes hanger. It's untitled. Kind of makes me think of some Marcel Duchamp sculptures where he had marble cubes in a bird cage or something. It's also untitled. Wood 14 by 5.5 by 5.5. So that was part of a lamp. I guess these are all mostly untitled. Okay, that's nice. Untitled acrylic on canvas, wood and wire. This is Orange Bowl. This is Untitled Tower, 1988. Untitled Red Record, 1981. Wood string and record. Ha ha. Ink on paper, plastic, and colored paper. Another green bowl. Okay, so this is very abject. We got little pieces of wire with little net bags like you would get garlic in at the grocery store. Okay, so this is fun. Untitled pigment, cotton, and solvent transfers. Okay, so we've got all of our virtue signaling stamps on here of reusable, compostable, recyclable, made with pride, sustainable forest initiative. And it's a solvent transfer from 2016, 2014. Okay, so I like this. It's kind of taking the idea of one of the recycled paper bags and turning it into a little monument to our sustainability programs. You know, but he's calling these pigment with solvent transfers, so this isn't some kind of silk screen, which is what it kind of looks like, which probably just makes them all that much more toxic. These are 69 by 49. Actually, I'm looking at this and thinking the base of this looks like it's just a nice piece of print paper, Reeves paper, and you add on your little handles, and you could probably fold that up into a bag. Let's look at some of the larger sculpture. Well, I'm not seeing the title for this anywhere. And I would estimate this is probably about 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. So here we are, we're repurposing maybe one of the most ubiquitous forms of trash that you can find, which is the paper, the plastic bag. Although it's kind of nice from a coloristic standpoint. Here's Jay Gorney. Okay, here's another piece employing the plastic bags. I guess I shouldn't worry about the titles. Most of the sculptures are untitled. This is wood, wire, and plastic bags, 57 by 16 by 31. I've got a couple of those floating around somewhere. Untitled 2015. Pigment and paper and wood and wire. Okay, so this goes to what I was talking about, of these pieces being cobbled together out of just scraps of wood you would have in your garage. Got some 1/2-inch plywood, some 2x4s, some wire. But B. Wurtz has made some paper vegetables and fruit. I I guess that has some kind of a relationship to the bag up here. Maybe dumping out the fruit. Okay, I'm starting to see a theme here, at least in part of it. So we've got our little labels that you would peel off of your bananas and apples and peaches and stuff. Then we've got our plastic bags that everyone puts these things in. So on one side you've got the organic, healthy food you're eating. On the other side you've got all of this nasty chemical plastic stuff that never breaks down. There is kind of a poetic, whimsical quality to his ideas of design and color, his use of the disposable objects. Now we'll look at some of the photographs and their ancillary sculptural pieces. This is titled, untitled, Silver Lampshade, 1987. Okay, well, I actually like the conceptual idea of this presenting the actual object and then a kind of blown up, fetishized black and white photo of it.
Pretty interesting.
This is titled Untitled Syntronic Instrument. Found electrical instrument, wood and dye, and sublimation print. The photo is 61 by 39. This piece, untitled, found object and sublimation print. James Kalm reporting on Wurtz monuments here at GARTH GREENAN Gallery in West Chelsea. You can like this, share, link it up to all your social media sites, and you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, and reviews below, as long as you say, thank you, Kate. She just keeps looking with those beautiful eyes.
All right,
All right, thanks, Greg.
Man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg Morgan.